I used to live in a constant state of doing, always chasing the next goal, client, destination, project, or thing that will make me feel excited. And I really felt exhausted from being in this cycle of doing, pushing, proving, and performing. So at the end of 2024, I made a promise to myself that this year I'm going to explore my yin. I really wanted to reconnect with my feminine energy, yin energy. I wanted to slow down, to trust, to listen to my intuition, to follow the voice of my higher self, and allow myself to simply be instead of always doing. And my intention is to build a life that flows from the heart rather than being driven by the mind, the logic, or past conditioning. So I quit my job, let go of all my projects, and left my home and followed my intuition. Because I know in my heart that there is another way of living life. If there is a life where you work hard and you do a lot, then it means that the opposite energy exists. A life where you don't have to force, you don't have to push, a life that feels guided and easeful, where things unfold naturally when you can trust your inner rhythm. And as I let go of pretty much everything in my life, there is one place that kept calling me. And this place is the Lake Titicaca. And it had been showing up a lot in my dreams, in my thoughts, in vision. And even though I didn't fully understand why, I knew that I had to go. So I finally booked my flight ticket and I went there. Later, when I started to research the lake, I found something that really resonated with me. That the Lake Titicaca is often called the sacral chakra of the earth, the energetic womb of the planet. And spiritual authors like Robert Kuhn and Drunvalo Melchizedek describe it as one of the Earth's most powerful energy centers, a place that holds the frequency of the divine feminine, fertility, and creative flow. And it's a site that is deeply connected to water, creativity, intuition, and emotional wisdom, just like the sacral chakra in our bodies. So this video is about my experience and personal perception of the lake, what I felt, what I saw, what I've learned, and what started to awaken within me while being there. And if you've been feeling the pull to soften, to reconnect with your intuition, to let go and remember a deeper way of living, one that is rooted in presence, in love, harmony, and soul connection, then this message is for you. Lake Titicaca is one of the most mystical places on earth, and my intention coming here was to connect with the energy of the lake and see what would open up for me. I had no expectations. I was open to anything that could happen, even nothing at all. And when I arrived in Puno, the main city on the Peruvian side of the lake, I made my way to a small port to take a boat to the Uros Island, where I had booked an Airbnb. And the moment you arrive at the port, you feel like you are entering a different universe. The energy is so peaceful, the lake is calm, and everything is quiet. The people are warm and welcoming. You can feel that life flows differently here. And as the boat took me across the water towards the small island, I looked up and I saw both the moon and the sun in the sky, the feminine and the masculine. And the scenery was absolutely breathtaking. There were like small homes made of totora reeds floating on the water. There are actually over 120 floating islands built by the Uros people. But you know, what fascinated me the most were all the legends surrounding the lake, which really gives it a magical energy. It is said that Lake Titicaca is the birthplace of the Inca Empire, where the first Incas, Manco Capac and Mama Oclo, emerged from the waters. They were sent by the sun god Inti to bring order and wisdom to the world. And Locals also speak of a mermaid spirit who lives in the lake, a being who blesses those who respect the waters and sometimes takes those who don't. They call her Pai. And some local newspapers have reported mysterious like drowning or disappearance, always men, with some people claiming to have seen or heard the mermaid before this event happens. And Lake Titicaca is also known as a hotspot for interdimensional phenomena. One of the most powerful places that I have visited was Aramu muru, also known as the doorway of gods. And it's like a massive stone carved into a flat rock wall near the lake with a small door at the center. And according to the legend, Aramu muru was a priest who escaped the Spanish conquest carrying a sacred golden disc, a powerful relic said to have come from the stars. And he is said to have placed the disc into the rock and disappeared into the stone, never to return. And today, many people believe this site is a stargate, a multidimensional portal between worlds. And when I place my forehead in the small niche and close my eyes, I could feel a very strong vibration, especially around my third eye. And many rituals are performed here and people come to feel the energy, but also to plant seeds for their future. So to me, Lake Titicaca was the perfect spot to receive messages, guidance, recharge my energy, and feel deeply connected to my body, my feminine energy, to the earth and God. So I ended up organizing my own little solo retreat here, and I booked this beautiful place on the lake with an incredible view and set the intention to simply connect with the spirit of the lake, Mama Kocha, the goddess of water. And people who live around the lake often invoke her during ceremonies. And every day I was meditating, watching the sunrise, the sunset, connecting with the water and the stars, also journaling at night with the insight that I was receiving during the day. And I started to have like vivid dreams and visions, and I found that the more I was connecting to the place and its people, the more I was able to slow down. And when you slow down, you're face to face with yourself, with your thoughts, your feelings, your challenges, your reality. And most people don't like to slow down for this reason, because this pushes us to face what we are avoiding or running from by staying busy. But there is so much magic in slowing down, the kind that brings you back to your body, your creativity, the feminine energy that we all have within us. So this is my last day on this small floating island. This experience has been incredible. I've spent 5 days here. Usually tourists will spend 1 or 2 nights maximum, but I really decided that I wanted to connect on a deeper level with the lake and the energy of the place. And what I can say is that life is very slow here, very, very slow. Well, first because it's like 3,800 meters above sea level, right? So you don't have the same oxygen here that you have in a city like Lima in Peru. And so you eat slowly, you walk slowly, you speak slowly, you digest slowly. Everything is very, very slow. And when you come from a city or a place in the world where life is busy, 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 and you arrive here and you're faced with this slowness, right? You enter a kind of initiation, a kind of reprogrammation where you learn to accommodate your body to this place. And for me, it has been a very incredible experience, because not only I've learned to really slow down, but also to appreciate the essential things of life, like coming back to what is really important. And to give you an example, yesterday I went to do a tour on another island, and I came back very early. It was like 3:30 p.m. and I was waiting for my boat to pick me up and drive me here on my small floating island. And so my boat arrived, and suddenly I had this thought, like, what am I going to do now? There is absolutely nothing to do here. This is absolutely beautiful, right? And at the same time, I don't have my laptop. Yes, I have my phone, but the connection is terrible. And this is just me here. There is no one I can talk to. And so you're kind of empowered to see life very differently and reconnect to yourself in some sort of way, right? And so I decided to come back here, and I had a hot tea, and suddenly I become excited about having a hot tea. And then I had a shower, and suddenly I become excited about taking a shower, and more excited because it's actually hot water. There are places where you don't have access to hot water, right? And and so I became excited about that. And then I become excited about reading a book, and I become excited about going to bed and just doing a meditation, looking at the stars that I can see from my bed. And all of this make you realize that, wow, life is so beautiful and so simple. And so this experience has been incredible for me in because it really helped me develop a different mindset that I had when I arrived here, when I was considering other things more important and prioritizing other things than just life itself. And yeah. At the end of my trip, I was sitting in Copacabana on the Bolivian side of the lake, and there were like a lot of benches facing the lake, and many people were just sitting there gazing at the water. And there was this woman nearby, and I'm not sure if she was waiting for a client or simply there just because. And I remember looking at her, and she looked so peaceful, like she spent every day there just sitting. And in that moment, I felt like I could do the same. Spend the whole day just looking at the lake, simply being, just being, existing. And that's when I realized there was no longer a gap between my mind and my body. There was only presence. And there have been so many times when impatience took over, when my mind was already there, but my body was still here. And I will blame my body for not moving as fast as my mind. And that blame created a sort of disconnection and frustration. But when you slow down, you begin to remember wholeness, and everything starts to flow again, just like nature does. So my question for you is, what happens when you're not doing anything? What comes up for you? Fears, guilt, thoughts you will rather not think about? If you allow yourself to be, what might open up for you? As I was adapting to the lake and the slowness of the place, I asked myself, would I be okay if the rest of my life looked like this? If I were to take things very slowly, connecting with people here and there, enjoying life in a completely different way, would I be okay with that? And what I felt in that moment was disappointment in myself for not having created this big thing, even though I had no idea what this big thing was actually about. But in my mind, I've always wanted to create something big, something significant, something that will leave a lasting impact on the world. And now that I reflect on this, I can see that it was coming from a place of ego and proving things to myself. And I could recognize this like high achieving mindset rooted in patriarchal conditioning, a system that glorifies doing over being, productivity over presence, and proving over feeling. And this system taught me to seek worth through achievement, to value logic over intuition and to silence the wisdom of my body in favor of external validation. And with that mindset, I was constantly putting so much pressure on myself because nothing ever felt like enough. Everything I was creating always seemed too small. And that day, while I was sitting with my feelings of disappointment, I ended up discovering that the little girl inside of me still wanted to prove something to others and herself, just to feel valued and loved. And that insight was very interesting. And this idea of creating a big thing, something that didn't even exist, this belief was limiting me in so many ways. And so that morning, after realizing all of this and feeling my emotions fully, the rest of my stay completely shifted, or at least my perception did. So my external reality changed after that. And so I went to have lunch and I had the best ceviche I've ever had. And while I was having lunch, a guy from Sweden approached me and we started chatting, and he opened up saying that he felt very overwhelmed because he had packed so much into his trip. And he had just arrived from Ecuador at 4 a.m. He was leaving for an island the next day at 5 a.m. and then heading to Bolivia and then somewhere else. Like, he was doing a lot of hikes and the guy was not stopping at all. He was like exhausted. And meanwhile, I had come to the lake with no plan, just the intention to connect with the place. And we were in like two different energies. And after our conversation, he realized that his way of traveling is stressful, but not only his way of traveling was stressful, but his entire life felt the same. And so after the conversation, he decided to cancel some of his plan and take time for himself at the lake. And after meeting him, I met other people too, a guy who wanted to move to Germany but was afraid of leaving his mom in Bolivia, someone who wrote a book but never promoted it because he was scared of what people might think. And every day I had different conversation with different people, and I made a meaningful impact through the conversation. And then this hit me, like I was so focused on the desire to create something big, the next project, the next thing, that I could not see or appreciate what I was already creating every single day. And because I was not seeing it, I was not appreciating it. And that created a sense of lack in my life. But I hadn't realized that, or at least I hadn't felt it in my body. And because, there is a big difference between understanding something and truly integrating it in the body. And I couldn't fully grasp this until I questioned my definition of creativity and fully felt my feelings of disappointment. And coming here really helped me do that. Coming to the lake helped me do that. And that's when I felt like this huge wave of acceptance rising in my chest, and a sense of, wow, like I am finally accepting that I am doing enough, that I am creating every day, and that I can make an impact. And I truly believe this lake is magical. I never expected to redefine my relationship with creativity in this way. I thought that by coming there, like I will feel like a new wave of inspiration and start working on some big project, whatever. And but what happened instead was something far more meaningful, like a deeper sense of compassion and appreciation for my daily life, a realization that I am already creating every single day. So what's your definition of creativity, and what are you already creating every day? Do you appreciate it? One thing that I truly loved about the lake and that I found particularly meaningful are the rituals, the ceremonies, the prayers that are being infused into every aspect of life. And so when you engage in rituals, your appreciation deepens, your intentions are being amplified, and the ordinary becomes extraordinary. it's not just about what you do, but how you do it. And in this case, is about presence, care, and love. And so rituals remind us that life is sacred and that every action can become an offering. And when you see the divine in everything that you do, you return to beauty, devotion, and a sense of presence. You have a much deeper connection to everything that is. And I do believe that this is the way to abundance. And so there is a place in Chucuito called the Temple of Fertility, built by the Inca to support women who wanted to conceive. And so women will come and sit on a stone set to hold fertile energy. And there is an angel figure just behind it offering protection. And so women will raise their hands to the sky and focus on their intention to become pregnant. And when they did, they will return to offer gifts like coca leaves or wine in gratitude. But this temple is not just about physical fertility. It was also about abundance in general. As you can see here, there are also stone phalluses pointing downwards, symbolizing the fertility of the land. And so people came here to pray for a good harvest and a flourishing life. And even today, people still visit not just to conceive a child, but to bring creative projects, ideas, or dreams into forms. And so it's a space to connect with life force energy and plant the seeds of whatever you want to see growing. And so you can find all kinds of rituals and prayers around the lake. And when I crossed over to the Bolivian side, I hiked up to the Mirador of Copacabana. And at the top, there was this beautiful space where people light candles for different areas of their life. Love, career, health, family, and each color represents a different intention. You can choose your candle, light them, and place them around the Virgin of Copacabana, offering your prayers and your hopes. And it's a simple yet very powerful rituals because in this moment you make a pause, you connect, and you are present, and you set your intention with faith. And so I took them all the candles and all the colors. I've also done rituals with coca leaves. They symbolize connection, gratitude, and reciprocity. And they're used in ceremonies to offer prayers, ask for guidance, and honor the earth and the spirits. And someone taught me this beautiful practice where you take like 3 coca leaves and you face the east, and then you turn to the mountain, and with your hand open you set an intention and you give thanks to the spirit of the mountains. And after that you can place the leaves as an offering either on the earth or give them to the spirit of the lake. And there is so much trust in the unseen. Like the pre-Inca and the Inca understood that to bring something to life, a child, a harvest, a dream, you need intention, ritual, connection to spirit, and deep trust for what you don't see. And these rituals, ceremonies, and temples teach us to slow down, honor the sacred process of creation. And something that has changed in my habits since I went to this place is the way I deal with challenges. Before, when a challenge came up, when I became aware of something that I wanted to change, I could not wait. Like, I had to deal with it immediately. My mindset was, I see that, I've got to fix it now, whatever it was. And this was incredibly draining and rooted in this achievement-oriented mindset, and I was not allowing space for integration. And most of the time it came from a place of self-judgment, like I have to change this so I can be perfect. And since then I've noticed a shift. Now when something comes up, I put intention on what I've noticed, and my inner dialogue sounds more like, oh, that's interesting that I thought this or that I reacted this way. I'm going to bring awareness to it and trust that this will shift over time. And so it's like the power of trust became stronger than fixing something now. And so I've been deeply grateful for what has transformed within me here. Nature plays such an important role here for people. And when you are in synchronization and deep appreciation with nature, you co-create with her. And the Uros people living on the floating island understood this, and they created a way of life by building their island from reeds that grow in the lake. And they do so in community, always helping each other. And so people living on the island also use nature in their everyday life. They use herbs as medicine for food and also to make soaps. So on the beautiful island of Taquile, for example, locals showed us how to create soap, shampoo, and detergent with a plant called churro. And so my point here is that when we attune to nature, we naturally become more receptive, inspired, and open also. And the island of Taquile, which is a UNESCO patrimony since 2005, as art and creativity workshop in schools to encourage creative expression. And this is also one of the few places that I've seen men knitting. Men actually can't get married if they don't know how to knit. And from a young age, boys are taught to knit, to weave, to create with their hands. And these are not seen as, women task, but as essential skills that carry cultural, spiritual, and relational meaning. And so a boy who learns to knit is seen as someone who is capable, mature, and ready to care for others. And his ability to create beautiful functional textile is a sign of devotion, attention to detail, and readiness to contribute to his community and future family. Plus, on Taquile Island, a man can't hold a position of authority if he is not married. And so marriage is seen as a sign of maturity, responsibility, and readiness to care for the collective. Leadership here is not based on power or achievement. It's based on one's ability to show up in relationship, in community, and in service. And so masculinity here is really connected to care, craftsmanship, and community. It's about being able to create, contribute, and commit, not just to work, but to relationships and traditions. And a man is valued not for how dominant or independent he is, but for how present and responsible he is within the fabric of community life. And so it's a masculinity rooted in devotion to his partner, to the land, to the ancestral knowledge passed down through weavings and ritual. And it shows us that strength can look like patience, that leadership can be born from humility, and that creative expression is not a weakness but a mark of maturity. I love it. I've also visited the Moon and Sun Island on the Bolivian side, and the Moon Island is known for its feminine energy, while the Sun Island carries a more masculine energy. And so according to Inca legend, the Moon Island was home to the Virgin of the Sun. The virgins were young women chosen to serve the sun god Inti. And so local authorities or priests will travel through villages in the Inca Empire to select girls who were considered beautiful, pure, and intelligent. And these women lived in spiritual devotion and were trained in arts, weaving, and in ritual practices. And the island was considered a sacred space for feminine wisdom, purity, and lunar energy. And so the energy of the temple on the island is very powerful. And I've left some coca leaves there as offerings and as a way to say thank you to the land. Who knows, I may have been there in a past life. And the moon goddess Mamakila, who governs the moon cycles and women menstruation, was deeply venerated here. And she represents the divine feminine, the intuitive, emotional, and cyclical forces that are often hidden yet incredibly powerful. And as a woman, when you walk this land, you remember how important it is to live according to your inner rhythm, to honor your cycle, which most women don't do nowadays because we've been conditioned to suppress, ignore, or override our body natural rhythm to keep up with a world that values productivity over presence. So that is what came up for me there. And then there is the Sun Island, which carries a masculine energy. And on this island, there is a rock known as Titicaca, meaning rock of the puma. And it is believed to be the place where the sun was first born and where the first Inca, Manco Capac and Mama Oclo, emerged from the lake. And so the rock itself has a natural form that resembles a puma, which is an animal in Andean cosmology symbolizing strength, protection, and the power of the earth. And so the rock is well known for its strong energetic presence. Many people report feeling a very powerful activation when approaching it. I felt a very deep energy of peace and tingling, especially around the solar plexus. The energy that is connected to personal power, inner strength, and confidence. And there are many stones placed just below the rock, each one led by someone with an intention, carrying a prayer, a wish, or an offering to the land. And it is said that when you leave a stone here, you are anchoring your energy and devotion into the earth, asking for support or the realization of a dream. And so once again, I've put a stone, some money, and coca leaves there, and I've been planting many seeds for the future on the lake. Let's see what happens. And the Sun Islands carries this energy of light, brightness, and direction. And there is this mystical power there that tells you, be strong in your power, trust your sun. Everything is connected to the power of the sun. And so somehow what clicked for me there is that the masculine energy we all have within us is not here to dominate the feminine, but to illuminate her like the sun. Being present with her, creating the path with her and for her, the container so that she can shine brighter. So somehow visiting those islands, journaling about my experience and expressing what I lived there helped me find a deeper sense of harmony between both energies, the feminine and the masculine, because we need both. And having the feminine means being able to feel, receive, rest, and listen, to surrender into the mystery, to trust the inner and unseen world, to move with cycles instead of pushing against them. And I realized that there is so much power also in the masculine if we choose to perceive it with wisdom. And the question that came up for me after living so many years with an healthy masculine energy is, how can I create a structure that honors and illuminates my feminine energy, gives her direction and safety while also listening to her? And what does that look like? So this is something that I'm putting my intention on. And somehow I came to the lake to dive deeper into my feminine energy, but I also perceived the masculine in a different light, like an energy that serves her, that grounds her and uplifts her. Same as the feminine who nourishes, creates, and inspires the masculine in return. So it's a dance and a beautiful partnership, not a power struggle. Lake Titicaca has shown me what the foundations and values of the new earth can look and feel like. It's a way of living that chooses a unity over separation, love over fear, presence over productivity, embodiment over disconnection. The masculine as presence, direction, light, holding the space, and the feminine as intuition, receptivity, creation, and flow, dancing within it. And a deeper harmony with nature, cycles, and spirit. The lake really reflects a future rooted in ancient wisdom. And this made me think about Lemuria. Lemuria is believed to be an ancient civilization that existed long before Atlantis, located in the Pacific Ocean and connected to sacred sites such as Hawaii, Mount Shasta, Eastern Island, New Zealand, and Lake Titicaca through energetic grid lines and memory encoded in the land. And so the Lemurian are believed to have lived in deep unity and cooperation, guided by love, intuition, and a heart-centered way of being. And their lifestyle was rooted in energetic sensitivity, empathy, spiritual wisdom, and collective balance. And a lot of people, including myself, feel a kind of soul memory of Lemuria, like something in me remembers that way of living. And it's no coincidences that these memories are resurfacing now as the world goes through such a big shift. And Lemuria offers us a reminder of a different way of living, one that is rooted in the heart, connected to the earth, and aligned with spirit. A place like Lake Titicaca has the power to show and activate your highest timeline. It can help you see the version of your life that feels most true to your soul. It's as if the energy of the place reminds you of who you are meant to become and gives you a glimpse of what's possible. The only things that you need are openness and awareness. Openness to receive without judgment, and awareness to notice, to feel, and interpret the sign and messages being offered to you. And that's why I love having my journal with me, so I can write everything as it unfolds. And before going there, I was in a complete blur. I didn't know what I wanted to do next. I just knew that I wanted to live from the soul, not the mind, and trust where that will lead me. Then on July 11, after the full moon, something really magical happened and I couldn't sleep. I was feeling super excited. I had an incredible activation where I saw what was possible for me in this life. I felt certain about things that are going to happen in my life, and I could feel right there in that moment that it all was true. And thing I thought that will take 5 to 10 years to happen suddenly felt like this was going to happen now. And I guess this is what people mean when they talk about jumping timelines, right? So I texted my closest friend in Europe all night, like, this is happening right now, like I can feel like this is happening, like crazy me, right? And this was the second time that something like this happened to me, and it confirmed to me that not only people but also places can awaken truth within you. So if there is a place that's been calling you strongly, I am your sign to go. Bring your journal, go with your heart open, no expectation, and with the intention to connect with the place. So after this period of expansion that I lived that night, came a period of contraction, and it's like I saw and felt what was possible for me. But then the next day I started to doubt, and all kinds of feeling came up for me, like things like being seen, speaking my truth, the need for external validation, the role of the masculine in my life. And somehow all this was resurfacing for me so I can face it, I can feel it, and let it go. And I know that I'm still in this process, right, of like feeling everything and integrating everything, so I can fully embody the version of myself that I saw in this vision. And so I like to see the contraction as an energetic digestion phase, where like you're being asked to integrate the new you, the new frequency, as I like to call it, and clear out what is no longer aligned with yourself. And what I've noticed since then is that, yes, I still have emotional moments, because we'll always have things to face and feel no matter where we are in life. But when that happens now, I take my journal or my phone and I connect with her, with the future version of me, which I like to say she's here already. And I write down, what would she do in this situation? What would she say right now, right here, when she's feeling this? And the more I connect with her, the more I realize I am her. If you can have a fear or a vision of the future version of yourself, what I really recommend is like anytime that you feel low, that you feel any type of emotion like sadness, anger, whatever it is, think about her or him and take your journal, take your phone, and just ask yourself, like, how would she react right now, or he reacts right now? What would he or she do right now? Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you could get something out of this video, and if this resonated with you, please like and subscribe.